ladies and gentlemen, family and friends. This is Stan, once again with Inconvenient Ideas. And today is a very special day. At sunset, eventide today, begins the holiest high day of the Jewish year, and it is Yom Kippur. And that is the last day of the days of awe from Rosh Hashanah through Yom Kippur, and where people take time to do some reflecting and connecting on that. And as part of that, I had a good conversation with my good friend Steve, and we were just informally going, and all of a sudden we stumbled upon something, and I said, Steve, time out. Let's do a radio program. And so that is exactly what we did. So in the middle of that, here we go with Stan and Steve as they talk about Yom Kippur. Hi, once again, this is Stan, and we're coming up to YK25, Yom Kippur 25, the holiest day in the Jewish New Year. And you know that I've been celebrating from Rosh Hashanah through the days of awe, and I look forward to the day in which you're supposed to make it right. Right with yourself, right with God, right with your friends. Maybe even see if you can try and do something that'll make the world a little bit right. Well, I have one of the real, honest to goodness, not one who like me, who's just kind of honorary, a real tribe member. Steve Lear, welcome to our YK25 program.
Stan, nice to be here. Good to see you again, and you're as cheery as ever.
Well, we stumbled across something in this conversation, which you said to me many years ago, which has stuck with me for years. It really has. I was so taken back by it, and I loved it, and I repeated it, and I quoted you, and now you tell me there's more to the story. So, Steve.
Stan, thank you so much for quoting me, but I heard it straight from...
Tell the full story now. What is the question? The full story, all right?
What happened was the evangelical church in our neighborhood, Living Word, hosted a night to honor Israel. And they brought in Pastor John Hagee, who is the founder of CUFI, or CUFI, however you want to say it, which is Christians United for Israel. And he runs the Cornerstone Church out of San Antonio, Texas. You know, he's a big guy, jolly guy. And he gets up there and he tells this story about how he first met Yitzhak Rabin. So you got to know this was long ago, because Yitzhak has unfortunately been gone for a long time. And he tells the story like this. He goes, so I go up to Yitzhak, and Yitzhak turns to me and he says, Pastor Hagee, because Yitzhak had that kind of voice. He goes, Pastor Hagee, we're going to need to agree on something before we continue this conversation. When the Messiah comes, you and I will go up to the Messiah and ask, first time or been here before? And at that time, we'll know exactly who is right. But between now and then, why don't we work together to try and repair the world? So it was, he told it with such class and charisma, and it just hit me, and I've shared it virtually every time I go into a church and we start talking about it, you know, the Christian world and the Jewish world, have to tell that story.
Have you been here before? And that is so ecumenical and so non-threatening. And so
that's what I thought.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's, you know, we Jews live in the world of really not knowing, and it's not about knowing, it's about growing. And some branches of the Christian world some branches, not all, but some branches are so secure in in that they know the path. And it's right there in John. It talks about, if you want to get to salvation, you got to go through Jesus and you got to do all of that. And, I respect it. I mean, I get disappointed when I go into a church and somebody doesn't ask me to convert. So I respect it. It just, for me, it doesn't sit because I'm more of a follower of like Yitzhak Rabin and I feel more comfort just not knowing. And I know most people are far more comfortable with knowing, but I don't know if that gets us to where God really wants us to go.
Well, I would so fully agree. I had a young man who was actually a very, very strong believer. And he said about something about faith, and he said, I won't do this until I know exactly for sure that this is God's way. And I said, that's crazy. That's not faith. Faith is saying, I may not get it right. I may not fully understand. I don't have to know.
Well, and I'm crossing my fingers that the world is turning to that type of what's the word I want to use, Stan? Mindset, that kind of mindset. And then what occurs is from having that mindset, then there's just a realization, there's a humility that is brought into life that hopefully is inspiring and motivating to try your hardest to do the right thing at any given time. And you and I both know we have been sinners, we've made mistakes, we used the wrong words at the wrong time, all of those things. But, one of the beauties is just to forge ahead, ask for forgiveness, which is all what these days of Oz are all
That's
about,
right.
is asking for forgiveness. And
enjoy it. Enjoy your forgiveness.
Yeah, just feel comforted. So,
yeah. Well, and talk about in the current light, it hasn't been well publicized, but I heard that this young man, Charlie Kirk, that he and his family were keen and very fanatical about observing Shabbat.
Charlie is he's a tough issue for Jews because he was so Jewish. He was such a follower of Jesus, the kind of original Jesus and the original teachings, and he was so pro-Jewish and pro-Israel. And yet, for me, I personally had challenges with some of the ways he did things, which was just shaming to the person on the other side. But, I can't argue with a lot of his commentary and what he thought was important. And just the delivery of it sometimes was hard to take. But,
young men are young men.
Yes. But thank you for bringing it up. He was.
Yes.
For me personally, he's one of those subject matters that I wrestle with.
That's fine. That's
what Israel stands for.
That's right.
Wrestling with God.
In fact, one of my mentors said, based on the story out of Jacob, he said, when you're dealing with somebody, never trust a man without a limp. If someone hasn't been through it, someone hasn't wrestled, someone hasn't gotten themselves damaged, don't trust them. Never trust a man without a limp. And that's out of Jacob,
Oh, that is so insightful. I've always been attracted to people who have unfortunately gone through a hard time in life, which is the limp.
Yeah.
That's the limp. Never trust somebody who doesn't have a limp.
Right.
So that
If they've got more stars than scars, be careful of them.
oh my God. Sorry, that's just so insightful. I just
Yeah. Well, you and I come up with a lot of good things sometimes. By the way, uh, we'll talk about other things else, but I just wanted to thank you for that. And I want to thank you for this time here. This has been really great. And I hope you can use it. And I'm certainly going to share it with my world. Okay. So
oh,
thank you
I
much.
yeah. And I thank you for making my life so interesting.
Thank you.